Psychologists and psychiatrists are often skeptical about whether someone with narcissism can change, and for good reason. Research has shown that narcissists have little ability to work on themselves because they think they are fantastic. They know they're arrogant, but they see this as strength. Therefore, they are rarely going into therapy and are usually forced to do so by somebody else, for example, a partner. Once in therapy, they often end therapy prematurely. But no one is born with narcissism, and it doesn't happen overnight. Narcissism develops during various stages of life. In my previous video, I have discussed that the origin of narcissism lies in early childhood, so the development of this issue could be prevented to some degree by some adjustments in the upbringing of the child. In this video, I will discuss implications for parenting and will give you some tips to prevent the development of narcissism and to maintain a healthy self-esteem of a child. So stay with me to the end and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new content I publish every week. I'm a healthcare psychologist and therapist, and I make videos on psychology and mental health topics. Everyone gives an exaggerated compliment to their son or daughter, like, "What an incredibly beautiful drawing." A large majority of parents believe that praise is beneficial to children. We often give this kind of compliments to children with low self-esteem because we think it helps. That assumption appears to be incorrect. In one of the studies, psychologists observed children working on an assignment with their parents. Psychologists counted the number of exaggerated compliments the parents gave their children. But what did they find? The more exaggerated a compliment a parent gives, the low self-esteem of children several months later they measured. The possible explanation is that children may have become insecure. Can I replicate my performance next time? On the other hand, psychologists saw a link with narcissism by children with high self-esteem. The more exaggerated compliments, the more narcissistic this kid became. Unlike children with low self-esteem, they believed the exaggerated compliments. They made them feel special. The conclusion is that exaggerated compliments can reduce self-esteem by all children and reinforce narcissistic traits by children with high self-esteem. But how do you stimulate a healthy self-esteem in a child? First, show your child that he is valuable. Take time for your child regularly, do things together, and have fun together. It's also important to show an interest in the activities of the child. Show your affection, cherish and hug the child. Tell your kid you love him or her. Showing love and warmth is important for building healthy self-esteem. If your primary school kid tends to show some narcissistic traits, you can do something as a caregiver in order to influence him or her to diminish his dysfunctional behavior. Narcissists feel entitled and believe that rules that apply to other people don't apply to them. So, setting limits and giving boundaries is very important. Your kid needs to learn that he is not an exception to the rules, like it's never acceptable to misbehave or ruin things for others. But also use the word no on a regular basis. Kids need to learn that no means no and that they are not always allowed to do something just because they want it. And don't give the child preferential treatment. Next, try to get an objective view of your child. You can and should compliment your child. However, give realistic compliments. It's important not to put too much pressure on a child to excel. The innocent social comparisons in which someone concludes that he or she is better off looks innocent, but they are not. If these comparisons are made on a regular basis, they only fit narcissistic beliefs. Such social comparisons arise from an early age. You can hear the child around you say something like, "I am better than my friends because I can sing and others cannot," or "I like to dance and I'm the best." Social comparisons seem almost unavoidable these days. Social media in particular is an inexhaustible source of social comparisons. But how can we prevent this? Try not to compare the child too much with others. Compare the child with himself and not with others. By regularly refuting attention to your child's personal growth, you teach him that you can improve yourself. This means that who you are as a person is not fixed. If you do your best and use the right strategies, you can change yourself. That is a growth mindset. People with this mindset like challenges because they know they can learn from them. When things go wrong, they will not give up but persist. Experience and failures are good learning opportunities. By making temporal comparisons, or in other words, comparing one's current self to one's past self, the perspective changes. The focus is placed on personal growth. The others are no longer competitors, but source of inspiration. This is the best strategy you can try to teach your child. Praise the child for his commitment and not for the final result. Instead of saying, "Finally, your teacher sees that you are smarter than others," you can say, "I am proud that you worked so hard for it." Praise is not the same as love. Praise and reward should only come after real effort has been exerted. Thus, make your kid work for things. Love, instead, is unconditional, no matter what. Try to develop compassionate sides in your child. Compliment caring tendencies or when he treats others with respect. Teach your child to put himself or herself in others' shoes by asking questions such as, "How does he or she feel? Why do you think he feels that way? What could you do to help him?" This will help a kid to learn to understand other people's thoughts and feelings and to react in more sensitive ways. Narcissism is a disorder of relationships. Encourage your child to form deep relationships with others, to build real friendships. Because relationships require empathy, which requires looking outside of yourself. And the most important thing is to look at yourself as a parent from time to time. How do you behave? Because a child is inclined to copy your behavior and to learn from you. Not all parents are equally prone to overvalue their child. It's remarkable that those parents who are narcissistic themselves believe they are superior to others. They want to be admired by others, thus they are especially inclined toward overvaluing. The first reason is that narcissistic parents are trying to put themselves on a pedestal. These parents see their child as a part of themselves and not as an individual. Admiring their child is an indirect way of admiring themselves. Another possibility is that narcissistic parents believe that the child has inherited their fantastic qualities. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell before you go. But also give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to express your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, but also on my Instagram and Facebook pages. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.